be some asshole come through that door at any minute now and say, Jimmy! Make believe these people aren't here. I'm ready. Nice to meet you.
Thanks for making time to talk.
Drink. Cheers.
Hey folks, thanks for tuning into Guitar Magic. This episode has a hilarious interview with the jazz guitar legend Jimmy Bruno. There's nobody else like Jimmy. Before we jump in, I've got two huge announcements. First, Guitar Magic crossed over the 5,000 subscriber mark, which is absolutely nuts. And second, to say thanks to you out there, I'm partnering with Henriksen Amps to give away this mind-boggling amp. Henriksen makes amazing gear. They're also the organizing sponsor of the Rocky Mountain Archtop Festival, which is one of the greatest guitar hangs ever. And this video is the first of 3 videos that were recorded at the Archtop Festival and that are being shared in cooperation with Henriksen. They went way above and beyond by agreeing to let me give away this $1,200 Blu SIX amp. I love this thing. Later in the video, I'll play through a tune for you so you can hear the amp in a studio setting. I want to keep this amp, but we're giving it away, so be sure to click on the link in the description to enter. And also there's a secret code word toward the end of the video that you can use for extra entries in the giveaway. Okay, let me set this up for you. September 2024, I was at the Rocky Mountain Archtop Festival. I volunteered to film Jimmy Bruno and Frank Vignola at the Eastman Guitar Showcase. And after their set, I asked Jimmy if we could have a few drinks, and he said, yeah, sure, that'll be fine. Before Jimmy and I met up, I was hanging at the bar with my Brazilian pal, Ricardo. I told him my plan to do an interview with Jimmy over drinks, and Ricardo looked at me and he said, "You doing what? Are you crazy?" And then he started laughing at me, and then he walked away. And that's when I realized that even though I'm probably a foot taller than Jimmy, I got in over my head again. I've seen lots of interviews with Jimmy. This one is different. This video was recorded live in front of a small audience of his friends after the gig and after a few drinks. Thanks for watching. Here we go.
No, I'm fucking old.
Before we jump in, I want to tell you a little story about the first time I saw you play.
Okay.
It was probably early 90s.
Yeah.
I was at the NAMM show.
Mm-hmm.
It was the height of the hairspray and the tight pants and the whole shit. And I walk out into the atrium.
Yeah.
And you're out there. I think playing solo with the sport coat on.
Yeah.
Right? And just beating the shit out of the guitar. And
I had a sport coat on?
Yeah, maybe your hair was slicked back, maybe.
Yeah, but yeah when I had class.
And I'm watching you play, and all the guys in their tight pants and the hair, they're all circling around you.
Yeah, that's right, the NAMM show.
Yeah, yeah.
They draw weird.
Yeah, and weird. this guy, he elbows me and he says, that guy can really play. And I thought to myself, like, this guy should be the rock star. Who the fuck are all these guys? So that was my introduction to who is this Jimmy guy? And then so anyway.
90s were the heyday of Archtops, and it was a lot of work around in those days. I was probably just moved to LA.
How long did you live there?
8 years.
8 years?
I can't remember what years they were. I remember I left when I was 35. So I'm 71 now. I was born 1953. So I can't do the math. I don't know how much 5 from 11 is, so I'm screwed. 6?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a while.
It's a while.
You had enough of it. You said you were there for work, or what happened?
No, I was there doing some studio work. Tommy Tedesco, and I did that for a while. And a lot of those studio people. I mean the highest caliber of musicians. Okay, as far as as far as guitar players, like playing with the right sound, sight reading, not making any mistakes, but they were all frustrated jazz players. Because they say, boy, I wonder what happened if I went back wherever they were from, and stayed with me. And I thought, boy, I don't want to, I'm 35. How long am I going to wait? And I says, man, I'm going to move back to Philly, and that's what I did. And I bought a bar restaurant with 2 other people. Worst mistake I ever made in my life.
I've not heard too many people say that buying the bar was the first choice. Yeah.
Oh God, well, I had made a lot of money out there, and I saved a lot of money. What I had was $40,000, And it sounds like a lot of money to me, but when there's no income coming, you go through that shit quick. And that was my investment, I think. Maybe half of it, I don't remember.
What? I mean, things have changed since now and then. I mean, it's a different world. What do you think it means to be a musician now? What the fuck is that?
To tell you the truth,
what is it?
I have no idea. The business changed so much. I don't know what young people are going to do. They go to music schools, and the music schools don't have a clue. You know, all the good work is gone. There's no more Las Vegas. You know, there's studio work has all been moved to other countries, or they got synthesized out of the business. You know, string players were the first one to go because they can, you know, for some reason they can really duplicate that because it's not synthesized so much, it's sampling. So what that means is I have a whole bunch of sampled stuff in my studio at home. And what that is somebody that makes the sample, you know, they'll say, okay, play the low down on the instrument, record it, and play in the middle, and play in the high. So somehow it gets triggered and mapped out into some algorithm in the computer, and you can press it on a keyboard, you can play chords, and it's not a fabricated sound. It is the sound of a violin. So what had started to happen at the last part of LA was they'd hire maybe a string quartet, okay? But it would sound like a whole orchestra.
Right.
But they put, you know, one instrument to just, you know, get a little bit more re-up, but you really can't tell. And then even that went away. Yeah. They figured out we don't need these four assholes.
I remember when they had the musicians union, they were striking and they were fighting it out with the movie studios. Yeah. And the movie studio said, all right, well, you just strike for a while because I know you have so much cash on reserve, all you musicians. And then they just went up to Canada.
Yeah.
And just
then went to Europe.
Yeah. And that just broke broke it.
So some of the last studio things that I did was the last thing that they could seem to sample realistically was guitar, especially rock guitar. And so, but you know, so I'd go over to somebody's house. Now I'm talking notable composers, okay? And they put up an iPad and play a solo over here, you know, like that. And I remember doing that, you know. That was the end of it, you know. And prior to that, though, they went to Europe and got real musicians. And, you know, musicians are their own worst enemy sometimes, you know. I mean, that's what kind of killed Las Vegas. For example, I had the house band job at the Hilton. That means I got paid every week. Everybody that came to the Hilton brought their own rhythm section. So what I would do is go get a job at another hotel, my prior employer, which was Suma Hotels, which was the Sands, Frontier, and Desert Inn. So one of the hotels said, you know, maybe each hotel had a minimum of musicians they had to hire. Okay. So maybe we could, you know, stop that double dipping, which I thought was a reasonable thing, you know? And of course, the musician said, fuck you. We got a union. And so I remember my last days in Las Vegas was an entertainment director came down. You never see those people. He says, well, how would you guys feel if I taped the last 4 performances, recorded it, you know, and I'll pay you double? Being the horror musician that I was right there. I'm no upset. Yeah, okay. 2 weeks later, we get it. Your services are no longer needed. Yeah. And it was a production show, like the same thing every night. I mean, they couldn't do it with acts, you know, because it was different. So then what happened was, I think it was the Carpenters came to a hotel, might have even been the Hilton, self-contained, okay? So they wanted to charge the Carpenters, Karen Carpenter and her brother. I forgot his name. Anyway, they wanted to charge because they had to pay 28 musicians. And the hotel says, well, can you at least pick that up? And they said, no. Okay, if I was them, I'd say no too. And that was the end of the union.
That was that.
Yeah, over and out, you know. And there was, the joke was going around, geez, the tape is always going to be in time. Nobody on the tape's going to be drunk. Nobody's going to flip out.
Yeah.
Give the conductor some shit, you know. And it, you know, it gradually went like that in Las Vegas. And then I still had 8, maybe more years in Las Vegas, LA. And then even when I left, those guys still kept doing. But then eventually they got there too.
Yeah, even the basic idea of like a record. The record lives forever, and the musician doesn't.
Yeah, well,
you know, the record always wins. It's kind of a...
You know, when I got out there, that the wrecking crew and all that was over. I was never a part of that. I mostly did TV and film, you know, and not a whole lot of it because I was the new guy, but I did some. I knew what, you know, I got to experience what it was, you know, and it paid more than 5 times more than Las Vegas money. You know, and that was one of the reasons why I went there. I got tired of playing for Tanya the elephant. And it was part of a production show. And the elephant would like pick up a mallet and play a drum. And the poor conductor, here he is, he's looking over there. And he's saying to me, believe this, Jimmy, now I'm conducting for a fucking elephant. Okay? And the elephant was so then the elephant started to spin. It was on a thing that's spinning. One night the elephant might have made a bad omelet or some shit. There's the elephant spinning and shit's coming out of the elephant's ass. You know? It's nice. People are eating dinner and stuff. Hey, Bob, look at that. Some couple from Iowa.
And there's some conductor up there dealing with that.
Yeah, he's going, look at this, Jimmy. I finally made it. I'm conducting for a fucking elephant.
So you had enough of that.
Well, yeah. And then I moved to Las Vegas, which was a whole other different kind of insanity, in a good way, but I was always nervous. So I never knew what I was going to have to read that day. And, you know, those experienced guys, they would tell me, like, that it's 99% boredom and 1% sheer terror.
Yeah.
And I did get to see that, too.
Did they hand you, you know, just basic charts, or did they hand you with all the...
Oh,
you know,
no.
all of it?
It was written out, and the way it went was like a factory. Okay, we're going to run it through one time. You know, okay, if there's anything wrong, they fix it. Okay, and then the red light went on. The next cue, all like a factory, all day long, you know. So, but if you make too many mistakes, you're not going to call you back.
They're paying for time and tape. They're not going to.
Yeah. So, I mean, I kind of like that high pressure stuff, but I don't know. Like I said, I wanted to give it one more shot to see if I could make some noise playing jazz.
Yeah. I mean, you didn't go into music because you wanted to have high pressure reading someone else's charts.
No.
Yeah.
No, you're right. But you have to do something for food.
Yeah, you got paid. Get paid. Yeah.
No.
When I was younger, I used to watch your instructional videos, and you know, what was it, 6 symmetrical fingerings?
Yeah.
And the advice was always, you know, play them like this. Your fingers will learn their specific sound.
That's
just
right.
practice it. Don't overthink it. Just do it. And now I watch your YouTube channel, and you know, your advice is really practical and direct. You know, don't overthink it. Just do the work. Do the right stuff the right way.
You know, I remember one of the last ones I said was, eventually I explained the whole process, how to use the fingerings. You know, but if you don't know your key signatures, you're fucked. I said, you might as well burn the guitar now. You know, and then at the end, if you want to donate $12, and you know. It gets so many views. I mean, thousands and thousands of views. But maybe I get like $98.
Yeah.
You know, and that's fine. I mean, I buy cigars with it.
Is that no nonsense approach? Is that part of your personality? Did you learn that from your parents, or were you trained that way?
No,
where did that come from?
I got sick of academia in, because I did that for a while too. You know, and I didn't agree with any of it. So I made my own course. And then there was that one, and there was another one. I don't remember how the second one was, though. No nonsense guitar. I can't remember what the second one was. They were for Arlen Roth. Then he had a bad tragedy happen in his life. I don't want to say publicly what it is. But anyway, the company got sold a couple times, and it wound up with Hal Leonard. And they still pay me like clockwork every 6 months. You know, and it's a little surprise. They're not like $1 million checks, you know. I have one in my pocket now for $168.
Anything that comes on time without a lawyer involved is impressive.
Yeah. So David, I don't know anybody there, but they treated me really well. And I didn't even know about it. I got a letter from them one time, and they said, "We need your, can you fill out a W-2?" And it was a foot. I said, "Who are you?" This is Hal Leonard Music. Well, I don't have anything public with you. He says, "Oh, yes, you do. We bought your 2 instructional videos." And I said, "Geez, I'm glad you told me, because, I mean, they could have just easily did nothing, then no royalties. I wouldn't know."
Yeah.
So that was kind of impressive.
Sometimes I wonder about that. You know, the special payments fund, check comes, and all. How does anyone know where that stuff comes from?
Well, I don't know. I used to, when I was in LA and did some film and studio work, there was a musician's, what did you call it?
The special payments fund.
Yeah. I remember Tommy Tedesco had told me about it, and I had just gotten it for a year, 2 years or something, and I got like $478 for free. And Tommy was there. He told me about it. He'd go down to musicians. I went with him, and I says, "Geez, Tommy, you got 400." Tommy says, "Yeah, look at this, 48,000."
Jeez.
You know, well, he did a lot more than I did.
Yeah. Sessions all day, every day.
Sometimes, most of the time, 2 a day. Sometimes 3.
Double headers, yeah.
Yeah.
My old man, he used to tell me you could learn a lot by playing with someone. You can learn a lot about someone by playing with them.
Yeah.
What do you think someone would learn about you by playing with you?
I didn't expect that question. There's some friends of mine here in the background. What would they learn about me? Well, that I'm kind of a perfectionist and brutally honest. And also, if somebody's struggling with something, I'll go out of my way to make sure that person understands it. I was going to say that I have a soft heart, but these guys here, they'd laugh me right out. But yeah, I think I'm a good person. You know, I mean, my exterior is terrible, but it's not really me. You know, I mean, I do a lot of things for shock value with students, especially my YouTube channel, and it kind of gets people's attention. You know, when you tell somebody you're a stupid fuck, you know, or some of the titles of my thing is Theory for Jerk-Offs, Jazz Guitar for Assholes. It gets people's attention, and they see those titles, and they go watch it. And I'm surprised YouTube has not shut me down.
I was going to ask you, do you like teaching? Because I see these videos, and I'm thinking like, man, does he hate
I
these
do,
people?
But it's...
Just look at his t-shirt.
It's a very blunt way of teaching, you know. But you see, that's how I learned music. Both my parents were musicians. My father was the guitar player. My mother was the chick singer in the band, okay? So, you know, I never studied formally with anybody, but I had a question. I asked my father, "Hey, Dad, show me this tune." You know, so, I started to work with his friends and stuff. And, I remember the first time I played a wedding or something, and I knew 3 songs, but they didn't do those songs, you know? And I'm playing with guys, and, I remember a guy, piano player, said to me one time, "What the fuck are you playing? What kind of fucking chord is that?" I mean, I was playing clueless, you know? So I kind of like learned by fear and intimidation, because It was a 5-night-a-week at the Cherry Hill Inn with a piano player. One of these kind of piano players that before the gig, he had said to me, "Hey, kid, you want some of these?" It was all different colored pills. And I says, "What are they?" And he says, "Drag it down, I'll let you know." Okay? Not really. And so this is not he was a great musician. But he used to tell me, "What the fuck are you playing? Don't you hear that? What do you hear that it's wrong at least?" I says, "Yeah, you want to stop hollering at me?" He says, "Fuck you, get off the stage." And then had to go back there the next night. So I used to go home, stay up all night, try to figure out what the hell, So it's kind of like Catholic school. I went to Catholic school. Their method works because it's fear and intimidation.
Okay.
And that's how I learned music. And that's what my YouTube is about.
People must love the punishment because you get a lot of good views.
Oh God, it's reached over. I have over 10,000 subscribers now.
Yeah.
If everybody sent me $1, I'd be doing great. Like if you call me for an interview, I say, "Who are you?" "Fuck you, I don't need no interview."
I got $10,000. I heard you were talking to someone somewhere, and you were talking about a band that you really liked, and you said, I think it was Mark Lettieri or something like that. I can't remember who it was. Anyway, it was a band. It wasn't a jazz band. It was a band that you really liked, and you said, "I'd love to play in a band like that, even if just for a little bit."
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I was kind of wondering, do you have musical dreams or delusions that you still want to see happen? Or
well, I'm too old, but I like. You know what I used to like? I to this day, I love Bonnie Raitt. Okay, it's not knowledge or technique. It's just pure soul. Willie Nelson, pure soul. I would like to have met these people and maybe get to play a couple tunes with them. Earth, Wind, and Fire. Come on. These guys like Eric Johnson, and Joe Bonamassa.
I heard him play last week, man.
And I've met some of them. In fact, I'm supposed to go see Tedeschi and Trucks, but the guy that knows them, he didn't give me enough time, and I had to teach that day, and I couldn't go. Now he just texted me today, Eric Johnson. He says he wants to meet you, and maybe you could show him some pointers. From me? I'm going to study with him.
Yeah.
But I was surprised that for some reason, when they would talk about these people, they've been around a long time. So I think that they were still in their 20s, but they're not. They're in their 50s and 60s now. And I would like to, try. In LA and in Las Vegas, I had to play all kind of different kind of music. None of it was jazz. And I did enjoy the challenge of playing, some acts had country music, a little bit of jazz or pop or whatever happened to be going on at the time, And believe it or not, even jazz gets old. As long as I've been doing it, I miss that. The challenge of, having a wah-wah pedal, a phase shifter. Of course, I really enjoyed doing it, but in the back of my mind, see, I'm a jazz player, and you're supposed to say, "This is bullshit," as you get $1,600 a week. But you have to say, "This is crap, man. I'm hip. I'm a jazz player," But basically what happened to me was I swung myself into bad health. This is what happened to me. Jazz, man. Dang, dang, dang. Yeah, my health is like Emmett's health. No health. But
I think you've, I heard you play today and a bunch of times, you know how to play the guitar.
A little bit.
Yeah. But is there something about the guitar that you really had to learn the hard way?
Not about the guitar. Music.
What?
Yeah, not the guitar. I was able to play the guitar. My father was a guitar player, and I never heard about Jimi Hendrix, any of it, until I went to high school. Because there was kids talking about that. I went to a prep school. Nobody knew I played guitar. I didn't want to tell anybody because they're talking about that music. I don't know what that is. Every night at dinner, my parents put on this jazz station, well, it's now Temple Station. It was different call letters then. And they, it was like Sunday night with Frank Sinatra. And then at night, Ella Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan, Dakota State, and Oscar Peterson, Charlie Parker. So that was my first exposure to music. I didn't find out about any other styles until I went to high school. And I was like, felt embarrassed because these kids I didn't even know who the hell Jimi Hendrix was. I was like, holy shit. And then I checked some of it out and I says, shit, I'd rather listen to Oscar Peterson. I didn't like it, But as you got older, I do appreciate, anybody that's a different genre than me, if they do it well, because I can't play like Eric Clapton. Okay? I can't play like those people. Various different styles. And I can study from now to do. I'm never going to get there. But I know that they learned a different way, and they spent just as much time, figuring out their craft as I did playing jazz. It's just foreign to me. And it's the same amount of work, dedication, and the closest I got to. One of my idols was Mike Stern.
Yeah.
Okay, and I found myself on stage at Birdland with him many, many times, playing with him, and what a good guy. And he knows so much about music, okay, he's not going to go up there and play Shatter Your Smile, but he can play some pretty hard jazz tunes, He was with Miles Davis, come on, and he has his own sound. He has his own rig, and it's very complicated, and I could never imitate that sound or that style. It's not a style. That's Mike Stern. It's not a style. That's the way he plays. That's his sound. And he mesmerizes the audiences, too, and, on top of it, he's such a nice man. He's no ego. And he's been around a really long time.
Yeah.
So that's as close as I got to like a rock guy,
Yeah. You've been at guitar a long time.
Yeah.
It's kind of a big question, but just what does the guitar mean to you? You spent a great portion of your life doing it. What does it mean after?
For a long time, it was part of my personality. If I couldn't play the guitar, I'm not really sure what I would do. It was part of thinking about Jimmy Bruno, Now I'm 71. I could do without it, and because it's very frustrating for me because I can't play the way I did on those records. You know why? Because I'm fucking old, okay? I keep telling these people, oh, you got to keep coming back. No, I'm fucking old. I don't want to do this shit anymore. That's the real truth. But, it's about 7 years ago, me and Frank had such bad accidents, like critical health issues. Frank almost died. I'd almost died. And I didn't die, and I remember thinking to myself, fuck, I don't want to play the fucking guitar. Screw this. I don't want to be in the business again. Who talks me out of it? Frank Vignola, okay? And at first it was like, nah, Frank, I'm done with this shit. Okay, Jim. Another call. Next thing I know, I'm committed to doing 24 Wednesdays at Birdland in New York, and I live in Abington, Pennsylvania. And, after a while, the trip was, and I looked at him and said, Frank, you could talk a hungry dog off a meat truck. And if it wasn't for him, I would not be playing the guitar anymore. And he has a drive. Because he had such a hard, he lost 2 years of work. He was almost as smart as me. I was drinking scotch, smoking pot in my basement, and geez, the remote control was 10 feet away underneath the TV, and I went, oh, fuck. I got up, hit my head on the coffee table, a brain bleed, middle, both sides. Was in a coma, that, went on for a long time. Frank, on the other hand, decides to get on a all-terrain vehicle. Is that right, Tony?
Yeah.
And he smacks himself into a goddamn tree on his property and breaks almost every bone in his fucking body. They had to helicopter him to fucking some hospital in New York, Columbia or some shit, And that's what happened to him. And when I became conscious again, somebody says to me, wow, did you hear what happened to Frank? Really, Frank? My Frank? Frank Vignola? I says, no. He says, oh, broke every bone in his body. He may not ever be able to play. They were going to amputate his right arm, but it got infected and shit. He made it. He pulled through, and then start. I would have to ask him, what made him want to go try and revive this career? I don't know, but I'm
trying to talk to him tomorrow morning.
Oh, yeah.
I'll ask him.
Yeah.
I'll ask him for you.
Yes. Yeah, because if it wasn't for him, I don't know what I'd be doing. I certainly don't think I'd be playing guitar, because I didn't want to play, Like I said, he could talk a hungry dog off a meat truck.
Well, I don't want to overstay my welcome.
Right.
You want to tell a joke?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the Cheetos joke. No, it's not Bobby the Boil Sucker. No, it's not that. There's a guy, he loses his job. Like, his job, he worked at a cubicle, those data entry guys or some shit like that. And, he needs a job. He's got a couple kids and shit. And so he gets his resume and stuff. He sends it out everywhere. One company calls him back, the owner of the company, the boss, and says, my God, your resume is outstanding. You're a perfect fit for my company. He says, I just want you to come in for a personal interview. I only have one question to ask you. The guy says, sure, what time? 9 o'clock. Says, I'll be here. The guy's all dressed up, And the guy says, same thing, blowing smoke up the guy's ass. And the guy says, so what's the question? So the guy says, well, what would you say is your biggest personality or character flaw? And the guy says, well, I'm brutally honest. And the guy says, that's not a flaw. I don't think that's a flaw. And the guy says to him, I don't give a fuck what you think. That's the joke.
You see, Jimmy is one of a kind. All right, as promised, I'll play you a tune so you can hear this Henriksen Blu SIX that we're giving away. I turned the volume up to 5. It was sparkly clean. I set all the EQ knobs to noon, presence control at 3, reverb on 4. I used the simplest signal chain possible. I played my single humbucker Eastman prototype guitar straight into the amp. I used my Zoom H6 to record 3 different inputs. Channel 1 is a Shure SM57 right against the ring of the speaker. Channel 2 is the direct line out of the Henriksen. Honestly, I think it sounds better than the mic. I don't know how they do it. Channels 3 and 4 were the built-in XY mic on the Zoom just to get some ambient sound of the room. Altogether, I think it sounds amazing. It's 120 watts, 12 pounds crammed into this tiny 9-inch cube with an ingenious bass port engineered right into the bottom. An Eminence Beta 6.5-inch super speaker with a defeatable tweeter, an effects loop if you like the pedals, a Bluetooth connection if you want to play with a backing track or something like that. Definitely pro stuff. Okay, here's a tune for you. If you recognize it, drop the name in the comments. I think I got most of the changes right. After my quick playthrough, I'll leave you on a high note with a live recording I got of Jimmy and Frank Vignola playing their asses off at the Eastman showcase at the Rocky Mountain Archtop Festival. Make sure you enter the giveaway. Happy listening.